All right, we're going to get started here. This is the Currency Podcast. This is the 142nd episode of my podcast. It's a podcast that I do mostly on my own. It's a grassroots effort, homegrown podcast right from the streets of Columbus sometimes. I've been shooting the podcast live recently at a bar called the Crescent Lounge, but pretty much what I'm doing today is I'm making a beat in FL Studio during the course of the hour, and I'm just trying to make something good enough that I could sell it online. And it's something that I do. It's something I do now. I feel a little like I'm in a Portlandia sketch right now here at the Kafe Kerouac. But anybody listening can come on inside and then listen to this beat that I'm about to make. But I'm pretty much I'll make the beat and try to record on the audio, but I guess my phone will just have to pick up most of the audio for that. And so I'm also going to talk about important topics, the issues, politics, because that's important. You know, Tucker Carlson and all of that good shit. I mean, that's what's important. That's what people are saying anyway. Politics and politeness, but conservatives are all just like policemen, I think. And that's one of my first hot takes of the day. Is that conservatives, it's a lot of policemen, they like law enforcement. You gotta watch out for them. They prefer politeness. They want things to be polite, and it's easier to be polite out in public, to go to the world of what is governed, because everybody is expected to be sort of governed. In public, you're not supposed to act bad. Goodness is legislated out in public. And what's the point that I'm making? It has something to do with conservatives and it's unfortunate because they're kind of lead the way because they're like the party of politeness and policy and law enforcement, like enforcing borders. But I want to mention up front that I'm not, before anybody gets too carried away, like, oh, he's a conservative, let's burn him to death, let's burn him alive because he's a conservative. I just wanted to say that I'm not on the conservative side. I just think that they could become the party that doesn't legislate politeness or whatever, or it's just unfortunate they're like mostly the policemen and they make it about policy or law enforcement. And so that's the opening segment, and I'll get back into that later on, hopefully. That's the opening segment. And now I'm going to make the beat that I was talking about. I'm going to make it in FL Studio. I'm going to start by just filling in the hat every two. Pretty standard. And then I'll change it up as time goes on. I'm just trying to make a good beat by the end of the hour, mostly. And let's see if I can do it. I don't do this like so often. It's just kind of something that I'm getting myself to do because I enjoy making beats. My friend Keenan Attar is here. He's the king, I think. He is a fellow stand-up comedian like I am. We fight the good fight. Do you think we fight? Do you think, do you enjoy the fight?
Yeah, always.
It's a good answer. I love the fight. The fight to be a good comedian or whatever. It's not easy, but if you do it enough times, then going on stage is not so terrifying. Let's see here. So I'm gonna make the hat to begin with, and then I'll add a kick and a couple synths eventually. Just bear with me. But I mean, you get to, whatever it is, you get to hear me making it. I'm making this beat from scratch. That's the kind of beat it is. It's a from scratch beat. Homemade like this podcast is. Just listen to the sound of this bullshit until it turns into something good. That's what I say when I do stand-up as well. Just listen to this bullshit long enough and then it might turn into something good.
You have to freestyle at the end over the beat.
I'd consider it, but that's not currently on the agenda. Keenan, who is my wingman today, suggested I freestyle at the end. It's a possibility, but I'm not yet prepared for that. All right, that's the hat, and that's 4 measures. And now here's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put in a kick, where a kick might be good. And that's where the kick should go, is right where right where it is right now. And then here's what I'm gonna do now, is I'm gonna add a snare. Get ready, get loose, folks. Really, that's not where I want the kick, I don't think. I want the kick. Thank you. And now I'm going to punch up the kick with some nice little like rolls and whatever. Add a roll in right around here. Make that louder, and that helps me out just turning up the volume. And so I'll be excited to add a synth to this, but I'm going to look for a snare, another place I can put the snare. I think I can put it.
You gotta add, are you thinking of adding like keys?
Yeah, I'm gonna add a synth eventually, 2 of them.
But I was thinking like a classical, you know what I mean? Not
What do you think?
I'm thinking the piano.
Oh yeah, we might get to the piano later. I don't know. Probably all the snares that it needs. Alright, so now that I have this beat, wanted to talk about conservatives again and how the policy that they legislate, oh wow, they're horrible. And but the thing is, like, it's popular to call conservatives weird right now. I think that that's fun. The Democrats are calling conservatives weird. I feel like conservatives called liberals weird before that, a few years ago, but they're behind in the times. The thing is that, like, conservatives kind of beat them to it, and liberals are behind a lot of times like that, like, even though they're the progressives. But I think that they would get more behind calling conservatives weird, maybe because conservatives are the actual weird ones. Like, I don't know, what do you think? Who is weirder, liberals or conservatives?
I would say probably conservative.
Yeah, liberals are all calling them weird, but I was saying, like, conservatives are all just kind of like policemen. They're gonna get you on their policy and whatnot, and you got to be polite. People are trying to be so polite. I'm saying that just person to person, you got to be nice. I think that it has to do with the conservatives. I would say Christians, but I'm using conservative as the word for that because you can use political words. Get rid of this. I don't know, this triple snare. You can use political words in place of other words just so that you can make it so that you're not saying something socially inappropriate. So you don't want to talk bad about Christians, just say conservatives instead. And you're allowed to do that because you're allowed to talk about politics wherever you want. But people are so expected to be polite that look at what it's done to Satanism. It's like the opposite of conservatism. It's too bad because Satanists, from what I understand, are secular humanists, and they don't even believe in Satan, and that makes me sad for Satan. Like, he has an entire religion of people believing in him, but he has a religion named after him, but they don't even believe in him. I think that that's kind of soft. I think that Satanists need to pick up the slack a little bit more, maybe a little more all hail Satan from them, but they're worried about not looking polite or whatever, because Satanism gets a bad rap, I think. That's just one man's opinion. But their people need to be polite so much that even Satanists can't believe in Satan. Jesus is a good guy. He's the king, is what I heard. I think that we got there's kind of like corporate savior, like big savior, is what happens. That's what Jesus is. I think we need more localized savior. Like, people should go and be the leader of some club so that they're the savior or the sensei of some club more often. And then those clubs need to go to war against each other. And I'm saying localized, there needs to be more tribalism, right? I think we can all get behind that. There needs to be more tribes. And the only way we have more tribes is if people see it in themselves to be the savior, instead of huge corporate religious figures like Jesus. We need a more independent business savior, or whatever it is. I'm basically just looking for a following, for a group of people to call me their leader. That's mostly the point that I'm making. But I'm gonna continue making this beat. I'm gonna add a synth to it, and I have one. I have the one that I want to use ready, even though I don't have quite the sound for it yet. So I'm going to start by filling in every 2 steps with this synth. Oh, that sounds. Let me adjust the volume. So I'm going to get right into just whatever it is adjusting. Let's find a good sound. This one should be good for now. Let me try to find a sound for this synth that works. let me instead try some chords. Thanks. I gotta see if I can work in another synth. I have an 808. That's a good point. Maybe I should work on this 808. I want to work on the synth though. Look at that. do. But I wanted to talk more about the politics that are interfering running this country. Pirates. A point I wanted to make now about pirates is that pirates get less and less able to do their thing as time goes on. It has to do with standards. It has to do with, you look at pirate ships and they are they're kind of like anti-ships. They're kind of critic ships. They're like fake. It's like fake shipping, anti-shipping, negative shipping, where the pirates will take over a vessel, you know. They kind of do the opposite of like shipping something somewhere. But it's just that pirates got less standard as pirates get less standard as time goes on. The further you go back, it's like the more pirates there are, but it's just that pirates are not the standard for shipping. But it's that, the thing is that there's a lot of countries, like England and whatever else, that back in the day, in like the 1600s, there's something called the Golden Age of piracy, and pretty much in that golden age, all of the nations that were big nations like Spain and England, they weren't just shipping stuff across the Atlantic, they were also pirates. But the further you go back in time, the harder it is to discern the pirates from the regular ships. We fast forward to today, and you know what the standard for shipping is, you know what the routes are, you know the pathways of the ships that are like real ships. Pirate ships, you don't know what their pathways are. They're not very standard. But basically, pirates, you gotta watch out for them because of how unstandard they are. But it's a matter of criticism. The people that are critics control the narrative the least, and those people are they're not in the realm of politeness or being policed. But the reason that pirates exist even to this day is because the water is not policed in a standard way, and so then you get these alternative shipping people like pirates coming around, and they still exist. They try to get around the police and try to get around politeness. But it's just that the way that it exists now, everybody's kind of a policeman, and they're trying to fight for who's going to be critical to who's going to be condescending to who. And it used to work that way on the seas. Like everybody used to be a policeman on the seas. Used to be that everybody was a pirate, because all of the countries that were trying to avoid the pirates were also pirates. The further that you go back in time, like the Greeks and the Romans weren't just they weren't just like the standard countries, like the best in the world. They were also engaging in piracy. But I would say that it's just that eventually it became the case that fucking pirates, they got off of the standard, and now but what's good about that is that the truth was revealed. We found out who the pirates were not eventually. Eventually we were smart enough to discern between who are the pirates and who are the people really shipping things, and the people really shipping things are like, it has to do with that nations themselves became standardized. Nations became standardized because, like, the borders of nations stopped shifting like in the last 150 years, so that's just like the regular, like the nations, the territories as they've stayed the way that they are like the last 50 years quite a bit, whereas like for hundreds of years before that, they were always shifting and always warring with each other. But what I'm saying is that piracy still happens today, but like socially, because everybody is kind of person to person trying to enact their own policies. The standard that we all go off of is like politeness, but what is the future going to hold? Who will become, and who will we figure out to be the pirates as time goes on? Will it be the conservatives or the liberals? I say that right now, the conservatives take the lead, but that doesn't mean that they're going to win. The conservatives take the lead because they're the party of politeness and policy and politics itself, but it's like they get mad at liberals for being too politically correct, and that's kind of ridiculous because it's the conservatives are the politically correct ones. They're always politicking or whatever. They're always on the side of rule following and law enforcement of law and order. And so it's a lie if they're like, yeah, I want to be not politically correct. Conservatives always want to be politically correct. They always want to be the policemen. Who are going to be the policemen into the future? And what I'm saying is that you look at pirates, there is an answer. Now we know at this point who the shitty ships are, who the critics are, that those are the pirates. But it was like, the further you go back in time, it's very murky to try to determine who is, with regard to shipping, who is plundering and who is like going on the regular route. So let me add in some 808s, I guess, or at least maybe I should switch. Alright, yeah. Sounds kind of nice. Let me put distortion on that other synth and see if that works out for me. that was some whack shit that I was saying about the pirates. It took me a minute to get to the point I was making, but you know, I guess it's not that whack. I was just saying that the truth gets sorted out eventually, and goodness is what's legislated in public. You have to be good, and so that's why it's so crazy when I go up to people and then they're like, they greet me by calling me pumpkin, and that's just shocking. Why don't you just call me muffin cakes or something? Big gay muffin man. You might as well. You call me pumpkin. I think that is not, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. I mean, maybe if you were a homeless person, I might expect that from you, just because that's insulting to say pumpkin. You shouldn't just like think that you can go around telling that to anybody. And the reason I say, oh, maybe that I would hear that from a homeless person is because you ever, like, real homeless people, you give them $5 and then they'll insult you afterwards, you know, because that's just the way that if they're a real homeless person, because they're just given over to like just saying whatever shitty thing. But it's just like the people that criticize at a higher level, they all have jobs. They're not homeless. Like, I think that's how you get into that position, is that you're criticizing everybody, including the people that give you $5, in my opinion. It's just that the people that criticize at a higher level, they all have jobs. And they're kissing somebody's ass in a lot of cases, or like if it's more career oriented for them. Because they're following the rules or whatever. Like, people that follow the rules, they are, I mean, they are not allowed the freedom of just going around and being like, saying some insulting thing with their greeting. And I don't really know. I wish that somebody calls me pumpkin, I could be like, you idiot, or whatever. I say whatever I want in return. Fuck face, you piece of shit, you know. I wish that I could, but I don't, because politeness is legislated in public, and I want goodness to occur. I want goodness to ensue. Goodness is better than badness. Badness. Yes. Only the truth that I say. But I just like that goodness is what you're supposed to do in public. You're not allowed to go and like do whatever, criticize people's beliefs. But if you believe in safety, then that's not good. Even Satanists don't get to say that they believe in safety. And it's just that if you're like a medium or a fortune teller, then you don't get to be like, yeah, I love that, I believe that, because the world will criticize you for it. We're like, oh no, you don't, your beliefs aren't even real. They'll attack you for your beliefs. There's plenty of belief. If you have an alternative belief system, if you have alternative beliefs, you don't get to have those beliefs. It's not like, oh, we need to respect people's beliefs, you know? It's not, because the beliefs of people that were like, oh, those are stupid beliefs, everybody makes fun of them all the time. Like fortune teller Satanists don't even say that they believe in Satan anymore. They're just like, oh, we're secular humanists. Let me add in those 808s that I've been excited to tell you about. I still want to fix this chord progression though. Yeah, it's not great. You know what I don't like about this? It's the part where it goes da-da-dee. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch that. I will make it something else. Oops, there's something wrong with my chords. Oh, there's an A sharp. I think that the chords are good now, though. You want to add some keys? Add some keys. Sorry, I forgot to include you. Oh, you can walk in. Yeah, it's open to the public. Peanut's gonna add some keys while I throw in an 808. Take your time. Oh, that sounded great. That's what I want. Get rid of that there. Get rid of some of this sound so that I can hear the 808. Throw in a lot of them and see if that does anything. I don't use 808s that often. I mean, whatever. It's not the sound that I want it to be. But I'm just gonna like throw in some crashes. Maybe that'll get weird. That one. This. 4 consecutive crashes. One of my favorite sounds. I'm gonna have to put a distortion on this crash. And I'm really gonna do it too. No one's gonna stop me. It sounds weird enough, I guess. I guess I gotta make that quieter. Crash isn't doing me any favors. I think that's about where the beat is going to end until I improve it later. So basically I'm trying to make something good enough that I can sell it. And I'll have to improve it later, like make it longer. Because the ones that they sell online are like 2 minutes, but you just do the same thing over and over again. And then switch up. You just like take away a synth for part of it or whatever. So the beat is basically done. Let's try some other sounds for our main melody synth. Ooh, that sounds good. I would really like to punch that one up. Well, I mean, that one's fine. I should punch up this other one. And so in conclusion, it's important to be polite. Not really, I don't know. So I just want to talk about the word politeness. It's related to politics. It has to do with like being governed, like civilization. It's a word for being civil, being polite. A polity is it comes from the word polis, meaning city-state. A polity is like a governance, but we live in such a polity world where it's like politeness. Politics is the same thing as politeness. Is the point that I want to make. They're very related because being polite is being civil, and politics is about the comparatively different governances, whether at the state, the city, or the national level. Politics, the world of being governed. And so we live in the world of being governed, and politeness is that same thing. It's like the expectation to be civil or live in the governed world, but it's just like the world is so governed. Or America is especially. America is especially governed, and the government espouses that ideology. the ideology of being governed, of politeness. And as always, I'm just talking about a word, as I usually do on my podcast. This is the 142nd episode. Politeness. It's important to be civil, because then you get to, whatever, you get to talk to people. But the question is, who will be the policemen going forward? Will it be the conservatives or the liberals? Based on what I was saying earlier, you'll just have to revert back to what I said earlier to understand what I'm talking about. But good to see you. Love that guy. And so that concludes my episode. Thank you for tuning in.